Okay, it is currently 5:38 p.m. This is in reference to documentation captured same time of year. I've already used this as a direct example, a vivid illustration, as I like to call it, with regard to understanding what's impossible. This is impossible on its face, okay? Sunlight through closed blinds, as I'm showing you the position while I'm on the ground, looking up toward my apartment, which is on the third floor, and the entity is aiming engineered light. In my bedroom, it's appearing on the ceiling and on the bedspread beneath. And this is all manner of light that's supposedly shooting horizontally on all manner, like going up and going down. That's what I showed you earlier. The light source remains at this property as I've documented. This is impossible light activity. It serves for what is light activity creation as you are being molested with engineered light. That has nothing to do with the light source because you see the same pattern when I'm showing you engineered light that's appearing at an upward position in the morning where the light source is rising outside of my, and I put that in air quotes because that's not the natural environment, especially when I'm showing you the light source that's over me in Ontario at the Ontario Museum of History and Arts, when it's literally hovering above me as I wake up in the morning on the same side of the museum that I wake up. There's a whole body of evidence of that. There was never any sunrise nor sunset at no point in the day when the entity was stalking with the light source, which is documented for a term of years. So this is engineered light and this is the light source, which is revealing the reality of the environment that you are ignorant of. It's a demonic environment, a demonic imitation. And you are literally witnessing that it's a demonic imitation. It's entirely fake, if you will. It's entirely engineered. It's entirely twisted. Okay, the pattern of the blinds, you're looking at super duper magnification of the pattern of the blinds that are appearing literally at a different angle. Okay, this is the pattern of the blinds and it's at a diagonal angle. It's at a distance away from the window, and it is appearing inside of the depths of a bedroom. And inside of my bedroom, what you saw was the entity that was maintaining the light source. And so you're looking at light activity as I move my blinds around. That has nothing to do with sunlight. So as I move around, you're going to see what is light activity creation. This is light activity while I'm moving my person over here, and this is supposed to be the suggestion that is sunlight. That is never sunlight on its face, number one. Number two, at the same address where the documented sunrise is occurring, that's also not sunlight and not a sun. That's a scientific impossibility. And by virtue of that, that's how you know what's going on in Orange County. And that's how you know what's above them in Orange County while they want to engage in organizing and suggesting, while you are ignorant about the environment, where you are able to recognize the demon possessed, where you are able to recognize the highly malicious and illusion of the environment that surrounds them while they are creating what is again literally fictitious grounds of the militarization of the law enforcement agencies that are keeping you under surveillance. This is going to be the removal from these tanks that they have to threaten your life, the removal of these helicopters that they have to threaten your life and terrorize you, keeping you under surveillance as they are literally puppets of Satan, affiliated with literally the army of Satan that are affiliated with these law enforcement agencies. This is a light source, and the reason why I'm using this time, 5:38 p.m., because number one, this is an entity, same time of year. The light source is, while I'm in Los Angeles, facing outside of my bedroom window, you see the light source. You saw the impossible light. You see this is through my bedroom window. And you also saw the evidence of what is the ongoing demonic light activity. This is not sunlight. This is engineered light, ricocheting off of objects, appearing through what are closed blinds, magnified in size, creating the pattern. The engineered light creates the pattern of whatever that engineered light touches. And you also see it's twisted, meaning it's appearing at a diagonal angle as though sunlight is engaging in this conduct, not at a downward trajectory. It's remaining over the same building that it's over at 11 o'clock in the morning when I'm documenting third-party group stalker UPS. Pay attention to that documentation. And the light activity that is ricocheting off of the mailbox and on the asphalt while third-party group stalker UPS is moving a vehicle is also not sunlight. This is all engineered light. While it's literally over the same building as I'm capturing it at the same property and in the morning. That's angle number one of analysis, okay? That's angle number one. Number two, I am in an entirely different region where I never came to Los Angeles and where I cannot see this light source through the window, the bedroom window of my apartment at 1806 North Alvarado Street, apartment number 6, where there would never be any sunlight appearing above my head and on my ceiling, ricocheting off of this car in the parking lot while it is over the Shiro's Liquor in Ontario. This is not light activity that's going to result in the parking lot of 1806 North Alvarado Street during the same time of year where the entity is maintaining, it's going to be, if this is the natural environment, then this is where the sun would be, and it's not shared with what I'm showing you is over me, remaining over me, and this engineered light, which is under no circumstances even sunlight. This is speaking to what is a very specific environment where criminal conduct, which is, again, always occurring, coexisting with what is following and remaining in harassment and terrorism by these corrupt law enforcement agencies who are demon-possessed, and they use helicopters to engage in this group stalking conduct. This is Shiro's Liquor, where I am present at this Shiro's Liquor as early as 7 and 8 o'clock in the morning, and that is also within the body of evidence. And on this day, May 1st, 2022, it is same time of year. It will be the exact same time. I started this video at 5:35 so that you can see this. And you also want to listen to my analysis because, like I said, Amazon Prime is a heavily documented third-party group stalker.
Only blood related. And what you will learn about demon possession. She is a treacherous, demon possessed, and a very evil person.
Sorry, this is the light source over me at 5:35.
5 p.m. This is not the sun. She's monitoring with this sex offender, and I'm going to prosecute her as a sex offender. That's exactly what she is. 4WON432. She is a treacherous, demon possessed, and a very evil person. And that's what demon possession is. That's what you need to understand. You're not going to be deceived by.
So first of all, like I said, that at Shiro's Liquor on Holt Boulevard, and the nearest cross street being Plum Avenue, where I would routinely get up in the morning, get on Route 61. The light source remains over me en route on that bus, remaining over me in this same manner through the windows of that public transportation. Engineer light shoots all around me, all over my person on that bus, including as I'm on the grounds of the Ontario Airport, the Ontario International Airport, as though the sun is ever going to be over that property ever, while the entity is rising and setting a sun that is speaking to criminal surveillance. The entity uses commercial airline planes and uses also the airports to engage in what is criminal monitoring, group stalking systematically. That demonic environment on the grounds of the Ontario Airport, documented. As I go to venues such as Fontana Lewis Library, I'm at this venue, heavily documented in the morning. I am at this same address, Shiro's Liquor at Holt Boulevard and Plum Avenue. And the entity is maintaining a light source as I arrive there at 5:35 in the evening. And as you're looking at that light source, you are looking at what is the light source that's outside of my bedroom window, inside of my apartment at 1806. And then you're looking at engineered light. That's not sunlight. It's not coexisting. It's not going to occur if that's the sun over the Shiro's Liquor during the same time of year at the exact same time. It's also not sun and it's not sunlight because you're looking at it engaged in very highly peculiar conduct, such as magnification, creating the pattern of the blinds where the sun would be shooting at a downward trajectory, not piercing through closed blinds, not appearing in the depths of your apartment, not appearing in the living room on the ceiling while it's outside of this window, and the opposite, appearing in the bedrooms like you see on the ceiling when the so-called sunset. The so-called sunrise, which is outside of my living room window, which is also documented. This is called stalking with light, and so is this. They're distinct methods of stalking with light, and it is not shared with this light source. This is a light source and not the sun. And everything moving in that engineered light, like Tracy Banks is doing, is for purposes of group stalking. This is the entity that's acting as one.
Amazon Prime, the demonic activity and criminal. You're not going to be deceived by Amazon Prime, the demonic activity and criminal conduct that they're engaging in, nor a minion whose name you know. And unfortunately, I happen to be only blood related. And what you will learn about demon possession is that blood relation is actually no comparison with what actually binds us by humanity, those who walk in darkness and those who walk in light. And that is Tracy Banks, who is in.
So I want to be clear, what you see this person doing, that's called crossing path. And as their shadows moving across the ground, that's what's occurring as the entity is pacing around in engineered light. And remember, this is occurring at what are multiple shades of engineered light. Engineered light remains. And then as I'm literally capturing video earlier today, showing you what is group stalking by Amazon Prime, as in real time, as I engage in that analysis, the entity is in real time showing what is a brightening up of the environment. The light source is always there. This is all engineered light. There's no sunlight that's going to be over the hillside. This is the same hillside where the documented sunrise occurs in the morning. This is the same hillside where you're looking at supposedly sunlight that's touching all over their properties, but yet the entity is maintaining a light source over the Upland Public Library, over the Shiro's Liquor at the same time. The entity is covering this light source right now with that which is not sunlight. It's the evidence against the people of the state. They're all group stalking while they live in relevant position in concert with corrupt law enforcement agencies. This is not light activity that's resulting from the sun that's over my property while I'm documenting criminal presence by third-party group stalkers such as Amazon Prime, who are monitoring in concert with LAPD, who are engaging in what is the routine of stalking using helicopters in a specific environment where it is not possibly the sun that creates this sort of light activity in my living room, while the light source is outside of my bedroom windows, while I'm documenting the light source in an entirely different region during the same time of year at the same time, which is Shiro's Liquor in Ontario, California. This is identification. I'm naming Amazon Prime because I'm showing you what is no difference between a third-party group stalker's name who you know, who has the same condition as they engage in the elements of monitoring, namely Tracy Banks, who is documented in this vehicle crossing path like every other third-party group stalker threatening my life in concert with that corrupt entity, as in the shoes of the entity, and also Amazon Prime, so heavily documented, and that's why I use them as an example in this evidence that I captured, speaking to the criminal conduct that Amazon Prime is engaging in while I am in Los Angeles and there is no shared sky space, no light activity that's going to be shared while it's over me at Shiro's Liquor at the same time, okay? And this creates no light activity that's going to appear on my ceiling inside of my bedroom. In addition to this, what I wanted to remind you about is the entity is maintaining a light source specifically over me while I am remaining at the Upland Public Library. And so I want to show you that this is what I was documenting. Maria Solis Alvarez, who's group stalking, walks in aware of the fact that I'm documenting. And I still documented you. I showed you the picture of the light source that she's group stalking under, the evidence of what is both her condition and her malicious engagement in the state's criminal system in concert with the corrupt law enforcement agency, while she is engaged in the pattern of conduct, and it is evidenced through the specific environment that she is present in under the malicious guise of being a third party, being an employee, a supervisor for a third party company, okay? So I'm going to open that folder and I'm gonna restart that video because I want you to I want you to juxtapose that with what you saw Amazon Prime group stalking in, and then you saw in that video in real time, the brightening up of that light source. And all that was present, that light, that engineered environment remains. Whether you cover up the light source, like I already stated, it is never becoming the natural environment. This is the evidence that surrounds Teresa Becerra while she's engaged in audible activity creation on a communication device in the specific environment, where the entity is group stalking in relevant position while her voice is a means of audible activity, while the state is creating amplified audible activity, stalking in a helicopter, literally the evidence against the people of the state, including her, while she is in an official position, by the way, as an officer of the court, which is going to result in her being removed from that position, while she's engaging in a crime using that position, okay? And literally at the same time in violation of the professional duties of an officer of the court while doing so. All of this is combined while I'm showing you while I'm documenting Amazon Prime, it's documenting Teresa Becerra, it's documenting the people of the state, it's documenting what I've already shown as the specific environment in Ontario, California, for example. It is currently, again, 5:50 p.m. This is the entity that's maintaining the engineer light through my bedroom windows, engineer light also in my bedroom, this is the engineer light all over the bedroom, all over the carpet floors, so that you can see. And this is where the light source is over Shiro's Liquor in Ontario, California. All right. And the entity maintaining the engineer light as you were looking at it on my ceiling. Okay. And that engineer light is never naturally occurring. The appearance and the disappearance of that light activity is speaking to what is the demonic. You're witnessing the demonic. You're also witnessing the demonic while you're looking at people walk in the engineered environment, while you're listening to them use their vehicles as a means of audible activity, while you're witnessing them engage in that what is the ongoing coincidental presence in the path, like Luke Powell demonstrated in that video, while you're looking at them engage in what is using helicopters to engage in those same elements of monitoring. It's demonic activity. And in the same way that it is as demonic as this light activity that you see appearing both above my head and then also on the ground and on the floor space. This is impossible light. It's speaking to what are those who are stalking, and that's how you're recognizing targeting. That's what Amazon Prime is documented engaging in. Group stalking, engaging in a sex offense while they're in the parking lot here, going right next door to Silverview Townhomes to continue engaging in that pattern of conduct in concert with the entity that's pacing all around in traffic, pacing all around on the property, Carlo Lopez, the entity acting with minor children. As you see, Tiffany Cherez's minor children, they're in a specific environment and they are exhibiting demon possession, by the way, which is not limited to the age of majority. It's also criminal conduct, which is why all of the minor children are going to be removed from the custody of the people of the state. You are permeating the lives also of those individuals of the corrupt law enforcement agencies. They pose a threat to the public. They pose a threat in their own households where they have minor children that they're in custody of, they exercise control over, and in the same way that they are abusing these minor children that they're engaged in criminal conduct with. You saw them on video group stalking in the parking lot while the entity was, and so let's go over that real quick. While you saw them crossing path in the parking lot, this video here, the light source is over me at 5:50. This is captured at 5:52 p.m. And this is where LAPD is engaging in stalking conduct with minor children. This is Tiffany Cherez's 15-year-old daughter, and using her even younger daughter. This is demonic pacing. Let me be clear what you're looking at. They are in the engineer light that surrounds me, and engineer light while they're pacing back and forth. So this is one child crossing path and another child that's crossing path. That's demonic activity. They're acting in concert with the entity that's acting via Maria Solis Alvarez, who are monitoring with those under the age of majority, serious federal offenses. engaging while I'm inside of the private space and the criminal system is underway. They're engaging in a sex offense together. This is Ledesma, 1816, number 1, group stalking. This is Maria Solis Alvarez, and the light source is not over the Upland Public Library, as my documentation establishes, which is not the natural environment. This is group stalking underway through minor children, okay? And this 15-year-old is going to be prosecuted. She's also documented engaged in federal stalking. And in this video, I'm capturing the entity that is maintaining what is the specific environment while Susana Martinez, this is stalking in the path with light. The entity is crossing path in the parking lot and engaging in what is the elements of monitoring in concert with LAPD. This is the light source. I want you to look at it. This is the light source captured at 5:53 p.m. There is no sun that's going to be present in Ontario, California, which is what my evidence shows. 5:53 in the afternoon. The entity is maintaining a light source nowhere near the Charles Liquor, for example, or the Upland Public Library, where I've documented until close. The library will close at 6 p.m. I step out. The library is, I'm stepping out, and the entity is maintaining a light source as though the sun is still going to set on that street where I got off the bus in the morning, and the light source was there. This is the entity that's keeping a light source here in this position, and this is the same position where I am inside of this apartment, and this is the living room where the documented sunrise is occurring. I'm at the same address, and you're looking at that light source that's hovering over third parties under the age of majority who are group stalking, and they're crossing path, and they're engaged in the demonic pattern in concert with the corrupt law enforcement agency. And so this is, I want you to see what LAPD did. I know I captured it on video, but I do think that it is a lot more powerful when I'm giving this consistent analysis and you look at it in real time. But again, this is the significance of the documentation that is already in existence. It's already published. And as I speak to what is impossible, this is crossing a path right here. As I speak to what is the impossible environment, you're not going to forget the light source that's outside of my bedroom window and the engineered light that's both on my bedspread, as you see it now, on my carpet, while a so-called sun is remaining over 450 North Euclid Avenue in Upland, California. While this is the same address where I'm showing you on the opposite side of my apartment, the so-called sunrise at 6:45 in the morning. When you're looking at the light that's appearing on my ceiling, and then you're looking at the light that's appearing in the depths of on the floor, creating the pattern of the blinds and the depths of that bedroom. None of that is sunlight. And none of that is possibly the sun for that duration of time, let alone at another location, which is the Upland Public Library. This is called crossing a path. And this is Susana Martinez, who's showing impunity while she's stalking, crossing path in the engineered light, which is light activity using a vehicle. She pumps on her brakes while LAPD is right here, stalking in the path by helicopter. And this is where you see them. They are pacing in helicopter, flying in opposite directions. Here's another one up here. And this is at the same time that this demon, this is Susana Martinez, is crossing path. This is demonic pacing. And so let me be clear again what you're looking at. You are looking at demons pacing and vehicle pacing on foot, pacing in the airspace in an engineered environment where it's not possibly the sun, based on duration of time analysis, based on the directed light analysis, the fact that that's not even sunlight. That's no product of sunlight. And also the juxtaposition of the specific environments, showing you what is under no circumstances the sun. And then you can look at the news and you can understand what's the unnatural environment where demons want to suggest that the law enforcement agencies that are keeping you under surveillance need more equipment to continue to violate your rights, which you were previously ignorant to. They are the demon possessed that are organizing. They are the demon possessed that are supposedly protecting and serving on camera. They're not. They're actually monitoring together. They are demons that are acting as one to create a false narrative to deceive the masses. When you have a real-time demonic agenda to literally prepare for what is warfare against American citizens, having this artillery, having this militarized equipment is serving to threaten the public safety while they are engaging in criminal surveillance and they're demon possessed doing so. Understand that. That's the greater context. But this is what the LAPD were doing in the sky space while Susana Martinez is being a demon and group stalking in plain sight while she's crossing path in that specific environment, while LAPD is pacing in a helicopter. And this is the same environment where they're using minor children. Tiffany Cherez's minor children, and she's deliberately doing so. This is a psychopath. She's not going to have anything to do with those minor children. That 15-year-old's going to have a sex offense on her record. She's going to live with that because she's exhibiting real time. She knows exactly what she's doing. She's engaged in federal stalking. She's, demonstrating knowledge of what she is doing as she is doing it, and she's engaged in a pattern of doing that and demonstrating that. Federal stalking, you're talking about presence and operation of a communication device. Teenagers are all over the world are doing that. Demon possession is also not limited to the age of majority, and criminal presence is very easy for minor children to engage in. And you have also those that are minor children that don't necessarily know, and the people of the state, such as Precious Bastillo, send their children running by you for purposes of crossing a path and audible activity creation, which is why you're also going to remove them from the people of the state. This is what Clarissa and Ryan Abundis heavily documented engaging in as well. All right. This is the pattern of conduct. And I want you to look at this was ambush conduct while I'm documenting the entity under a light source that's nowhere near Shiro's Liquor, nowhere near the Upland Public Library. But you are looking at what is the demonic pacing. Remember, it's going in the opposite directions. You are very familiar with this site. When you're looking at traffic, driving in two vehicles driving in opposite directions, that's actually demonic pacing. The pacing back and forth, it's occurring amongst the group on an ongoing basis while they are repeatedly crossing path. This is what's captured on video while LAPD is group stalking via helicopter, and Susanna Martinez is a third-party group stalker, a demon that's crossing path, and the build-up of traffic. You'll see the Camry, who had actually a Choi of 1840 rather than the other third party, and I think it's so funny. He went out of his way. They know what I'm documenting, so that's why he went out of his way and got out of his car so I could see him. They're not protecting anybody. That third party's going to federal prison, and so is Choi, but nonetheless. The entity is pacing in and out of the parking lot, all right? And I want you to see this aspect of the P.O.C. where Susanna Martinez drives on, demonstrating impunity. This is a dangerous terrorist that acts with no remorse, acts with every regard, the highest level of malice to threaten the life and psychologically torment and terrorize another while engaged in federal stalking, aware of the evidence that's being gathered, and is in every way unrepentant, unapologetic, and continuously engaging in that. And the simultaneity that it's occurring with LAPD, who's pacing in helicopter, is that ongoing pattern of conduct. This is, let me be clear. The same simultaneity of conduct is occurring while you're on the phone creating audible activity via your conversation, i.e. Teresa Becerra. LAPD is doing the same thing, flying directly over my head, over my office, while the elements of monitoring are underway. And she's going to federal prison for that. Okay, this is the P.O.C. Susanna Martinez is driving onto the grounds. They're monitoring with minor children. That's what I'm documenting. And as I document that, the entity that is demon-possessed and exceedingly hostile engages in more criminal conduct, which is showing the threat that this population is, which is showing why there will be no militarization. There will be the demilitarization of these demon-possessed agencies that are keeping American citizens under surveillance. This is what I'm showing in this video while you're looking at that.
With LAPD crossing path in the sky space, and engineer light moves across the building and moves across the dumpsters while they're...
She is stopping for purposes of stalking the path with light. Okay, this is very deliberate. It's light activity. It's also light activity while her vehicle's in motion in the engineered light. The light that's on my ceiling in my bedroom is the engineered light that she's driving and moving in. This is how you have a whole population monitoring one person together. It's all engineered light. While you are documenting where's the placement of that light source, it's directly over me. It's directly over me at the Upland Public Library, and at the same time, it's directly over me inside of my bedroom window in Los Angeles. No, that's the specific environment. And you are looking at a demon maintain the specific environment while they're in the path, creating a method of light activity while ongoing pacing in the sky space using helicopter. This is what LAPD is engaging in together, flying in opposite directions. In the same way that you're looking at traffic, driving in opposite directions, this is what they're doing in helicopters. This is very demonic. This is very psychotic. This is speaking to what is, again, spiritually significant behavior that's serving to monitor you. You're just ignorant of that spiritual significance. You're ignorant of the demons that are surrounding you, that are monitoring you. Okay, and this is what's occurring as she presses on her brakes, as the helicopters are flying in opposite direction, as traffic is pacing up and down Alvarado, as those two children are walking, crossing path, they're pacing in opposite directions, the foot traffic and the vehicle. This is pacing in opposite directions. The helicopters in the airspace pacing in opposite directions. Everybody is, I'm physically surrounded while they're all inside of their apartments as well. This is all out monitoring, okay? P.O.C.
Going to federal prison. They routinely cross path with LAPD crossing path in the sky space, and engineer light moves across the building and moves across the dumpsters while they are routinely documented as I recite their license plate often as I stand right here and the entity is maintaining a light source. This is not anywhere over the Upland Public Library.
All right, and I'm capturing this again during 4:59 p.m. is when the 4:59 p.m. is when I ceased recording. Oh, no, 4:59 p.m. The screen recordings are different. So I started recording this video at 4:59 p.m. and this video is approximately 11 minutes long. So we're at seven minutes in. So this is approximately 4:07 p.m. So we can juxtapose that again with what the entity is doing in an entirely different region. So, like I said, there is a whole body of evidence speaking to under no circumstances ever going to be the sun. The entity is maintaining a specific environment. Let's see. This is all 2024. Excuse me. Let's see. 16. And I believe it is what I showed you, but I'm going to go ahead and show it to you again because I think there's nothing more powerful than looking at it yourself. And basically establishing the fact, which I've already established, but I mean, I could literally, this is just having the receipts for everything that you're contending, everything that you're asserting. And it's necessary because you're going up against the government. And it's not only the government, which is, again, life-threatening enough. Okay, that's quite a feat in and of itself. You're also dealing with the demonic, which is very highly malicious, and is using people in their positions of government and positions of authority to violate you, to silence you, to also falsely depict you. And this is what having receipts is all about. So this is captured at 4 p.m. I'm showing you again, same time of year analysis. This is where the light source is remaining on May. This is May 2nd, this is what I was showing you while I'm inside of the Upland Public Library. So let's just keep this up so you can see. I'm inside of the Upland Public Library at 4:28 p.m. I'm showing you what's light activity. The entity is suggesting that that's the sun over the roof. You're looking at my shadow. This is where the entity maintains presence with the light source. It didn't go anywhere. At 4:05 p.m., it's over me at the Upland Public Library. Oh, this is different. At the Upland Public Library, and it remains there at 4:28 p.m., which is the case here. I'm capturing video inside of my bedroom. I go downstairs. They're maintaining the light source. Maria Solis Alvarez's group stalking under that light source. The entity is keeping it in alignment with my bedroom. The engineer lights appearing on my ceiling. Okay. This is, I said I was going to separate it and show you, but since I'm going through it, I might as well just show it to you now. What we already documented while the entity was maintaining that light source. And so... and I am in Los Angeles right now, and I'm showing you what is a 2022 at the Upland Public Library, and I am in Los Angeles right now, and I'm showing you what is a third-party group stalker that calls herself. So this is while I am inside of my bedroom window. Same time. This is the screen recording. Let's see. So I'm documenting Amazon Prime at what is 3:46, 4:40 p.m. And then I'm capturing, let's see. Yeah, 4:36. I go to the extent to show you when I... All right, this is the light source that's appearing over my bedroom window while I am documenting Amazon Prime, which is documentation of the people of the state. This is, again, video that's captured at, I believe, let me see, look at this again. This timestamp, the screen recordings, they provide the name pursuant to the time that you stopped. So this was... this is a video that is... I don't go to Fontana, and I remain inside of the Upland Public Library. This video is 32 minutes long, and so it ends at what is 4:36. So I'm capturing this video during the time frame that I'm inside of the Upland Public Library. Okay, this is the light source that's over my bedroom. The light source is there over me before 4:18 p.m. having never... And this is what I document. I document Amazon Prime at 4 p.m. Okay, that's where I'm capturing this screen recording and I'm showing you multiple images. I'm documenting Amazon Prime. I'm documenting the specific environment as you can compare it at different venues. I'm doing all of this in the venue in real time. The light source appears. Okay, this is never going to be the natural environment. This is at essentially 4:15 p.m. The entity is maintaining this light source that's appearing outside of my window. This is, again, what you would juxtapose with being over at what point? 4:15, 4:18, 4:19. This is the light activity that's on my ceiling inside of my bedroom. This is the same engineer light that's covering all the grounds that the people of the state are driving in. It's not sunlight. Okay, this is called stalking with light. The demon possessed are stalking you in that engineered light, and they're monitoring with communication devices. And the entity is maintaining this light source outside of my bedroom window, while at the same time I am documenting same time of year analysis, and I'm in an entirely different region. And it includes, again, like you just saw at the location of the Upland Public Library. I'm literally looking at it through the ceiling of that library. And I want you to look at that again, because the two are not happening at the same time ever at any time of year. But this is relevant to even down to the same time of year. This is outside. I'm capturing this video that you're looking at it outside of my window, and you're looking at that light activity showing my shadow above my head, and also beneath me, the light activity all over my bedspread, like you're seeing still. And that light on the ceiling is also gone all of a sudden. It's never there naturally under any circumstances, nor is any light ever going to be over the property all over, visible through my window with the light source while it's over the roof of 450 North Euclid Avenue. Okay, and this is what I'm documenting. What I specifically referenced on April 29th, and this is as probative as what I documented on April 29th, okay? The entities engaged in criminal summoning, Stephanie Ortiz summoning the Fontana police, who are heavily stalking in the same way that the LAPD are group stalking in that specific environment. The entity maintains a light source over the Fontana Lewis Library, and as I leave the Fontana Lewis Library, I go to the Upland Public Library, and the light source is not over the Upland Public Library, it's over me as I then arrive to the Upland Public Library, and that is in conflict with me, my being at that Upland Public Library on prior occasions. Okay. And as I'm there as early as 7, 8, 9 o'clock in the morning, that light source is right over my head in the same way that you see it right here over my head at that same address. This is not shared with being outside of my bedroom window also at 1806 North Alvarado Street. This is not shared with any light activity that's going to appear on my ceiling inside of my bedroom. There is a pattern here. In addition to what is maintaining the light source, you're looking at the light activity. The entity is creating, this shadow is speaking to what is the immediate presence of that light source. The illusion, the demonic illusion that that's the sun and that this is sunlight. That's not sunlight, that's engineered light. And it is also speaking to the immediacy and not the presence of the light source that's visible outside of my bedroom window, because the two are mutually exclusive. That's why you're looking at the pattern of the window. It's directly over the roof. Otherwise, I wouldn't be able to see it through the roof of the library. In Upland, California, where, by the way, it's present in the morning, which is why I'm stating, again, on its face, the sun is not rising and setting at one address like I've documented here at Alvarado Gardens, where I'm now living and working. But in addition, because I've documented the light source at this same address in the morning, over my head as early as 7:52, 8, 9, 10 o'clock in the morning at the same address, there is no provision for there to ever be a sunrise outside, not only a sunrise, but it's in alignment to me also, in the same way that you see it in alignment to me while the entity is engaged in what is heavy duty group stalking using helicopters. This is filling a specific environment with engineered light for purposes of very malicious criminal activity in concert with an entity. This is the entity maintaining a light source, 6:42 p.m. as I walk outside of that library. This is where I'm present at 7, 8, 9 o'clock in the morning, and the entity is engaging in conduct as though the sun is setting and on the same street, creating what is sunlight on the same street, the shadow of that tree appearing at flat on the ground, suggesting that that's the sun and that's sunlight. This is engineer light. The people of the state are systematically monitoring, driving in it. Engineer light swipes across the buildings, across my person, and this is where the entity is maintaining a sunset, as opposed to what you're looking at the entity doing group stalking in concert with demons, such as Luke Powell, who engaged in lying awake conduct, just like you saw exhibited on video today, and where the entity is now maintaining what is a sunset that is not shared with the address of 450 North Euclid Avenue. It's not visible through my bedroom window. It's not creating any light activity on my bedroom wall, on my carpet, underneath my bed, behind my headboard, into the depths of my apartment, nor on my living room ceiling like you see. This is called stalking with light. And where the entity,
that's all I wanted you to see.
The entity is doing this through what are, first of all, demon possessed. Then you have what are the demon possessed in the position of law enforcement agencies who want to suggest to you on the news that they need more equipment in order to protect themselves and the public, while they are together with those people of the state who are organizing and they're group stalking together. They're the demon possessed population acting as one, calling it lawlessness, appearing in the natural as though they are on two different sides of the coin, when they are actually one entity that's acting to create a false narrative in this country. This is serving for what is the demilitarization of these corrupt law enforcement agencies, not the militarization of them. You need to take away the helicopters. You're taking away the tanks. You're taking away all these heavy duty weapons that are serving to threaten your safety, while they are mentally ill psychopaths targeting American citizens. And they are literally unrepentant, okay? Determined to continue doing so. And that's what you see in this video, where there is no sunset outside of the doors of the Upland Public Library and also outside of my living room window.
Okay, this is what these cowards are doing repeatedly. Fine. And that's all I wanted you to see. Those are the criminals that are the Los Angeles Police Department. This is hypocrisy, the heights of hypocrisy. You're looking at what is the targeting conduct, not only through the maintenance of a light source that's not possibly the sun, but you're also looking at what is targeting while they are literally flying over me, while engineer light fills my bedroom. And those are demons that are engaged in federal stalking, knowing when I'm recording, knowing when I'm not recording, knowing when I'm uploading, knowing when my panties are down. They're sex offenders that, like I said, they are in custody of minor children, just like the people of the state that are group stalking, living at the crime scene. You're talking about removing children from the custody of those who are a threat to the public. I am letting you know it does not change with regard to the people of the state that are group stalking in the state of California in the position of law enforcement. They are a threat to the public, including those who those are minor children whom they have custody over. Those demons fly right over. That's exactly what they were doing while Luke Powell's engaged in lying in wait conduct. That's a demon stalking in the path, in the environment. Those are demons pacing up and down the street, all jointly aware of what I'm doing, including on a communication device, including when my panties are down, including while you see things such as engineer light on my ceiling, and those demons are threatening while they're flying over and engaged in what is absolutely psychotic conduct. What I want to make sure that you understand is that Dominic Choi is directly engaged in and responsible for what the criminal system that's underway in the state of California, engaged in by the Los Angeles Police Department. These are literally mentally deranged psychopaths.
So what I'm speaking to is this environment that is not shared with what I'm showing on the street of Euclid Avenue in Upland, California. At the same time, that's not going to ever create any light on your ceiling. There's no provision for the sun to ever be present at this property. There is the ongoing pattern of stalking using helicopters, pacing all around in concert with the people of the state, and they're doing so with real-time knowledge of any and everything that's being documented about their criminal activity, which is speaking to mental illness. These are psychopaths that are engaged in lawlessness that they don't want you to know the truth about. They want more weapons. They want more rights. They want more grounds to usurp on what are your constitutional rights, while you're ignorant of the fact that they're actually, engaged in the heights of hypocrisy. Criminal surveillance in the U.S. By corrupt law enforcement agencies. They represent the executive branch. Okay, and they are literally the criminal. Okay, and then once they are exposed, you are looking at the criminal, that unrepentant, that psychotic pattern, trying to hurry up and fly over before I capture them on video. Take a look again.
Okay, this is what these cowards are doing repeatedly.
Okay, the previous video that I captured on the same day, less than 5 minutes, okay, they were flying in circles, and that's exactly what I stated. And as I capture that video, they get real quiet in that video. They get real quiet. The moment I stop recording, they resume flying over, and they try to do so in a very quick manner to avoid being caught on video. Let me be clear. Capturing the audible activity is the evidence of stalking in the helicopter. You're understanding the elements that are at play. You are understanding and broadening your mind when you're recognizing what's demonic activity and all of the false misconceptions, all of the false ideas surrounding a corrupt government that thought that it could never be captured or, first of all, established as demons, number one, and number two, criminals that are surveilling American citizens. That's all false. All of it is false. It's very specific and it's very relevant, everything that you're seeing and hearing in the specific environment. There's no sun that's setting in alignment to my apartment, creating any light activity on my carpet. Contrary to what you're looking at, the reason why it's there is because the criminal system is underway. It's not suggesting that it's a natural environment. It's impossible that light's appearing above and below and creating your shadow above you. Also at nighttime, while it looks like a gang is surrounding you and they're walking around like they're just exercising, they're group stalking in plain sight, and these are demons and they are psychotic, okay? While they are surrounded by that very demonic and very highly suspect, it's the prima facie case, and that's exactly how you're not going to debate with psychopaths. You're not going to go back and forth. They can say whatever they want. They get their day in court. They're going into mental institutions. They're going to be subject to federal prosecution. You're going to remove them from every area of society that they pose a threat to the lives of American citizens because of that delusional and defected personality, which is the cause is demon possession. Okay, so, and this is in concert with the corrupt law enforcement agents that you see engaging in what is psychotic stalking in helicopters 24 hours a day. All right, doing so in concert with officers of the court, Teresa Becerra, in the same specific environment, the same ongoing concerted activity, the same ongoing real-time knowledge, while this entity is engaging in this criminal system and appearing outside of my window while with the light source and engineer light, appearing both above and beneath my head, excuse me, above and on the ground beneath me, while the entity is maintaining a light source in an entirely distinct location, which again, I'm looking for that so that you can see that again, while the entity is maintaining that environment. And that's the asininity of stalking with light. And so we can use 6:13 p.m. I have 6:03. Here you go. This is the same street where I'm at the Up and Public.
Documenting all my.
Okay, this is the same time of year, and this is not outside of my window in Los Angeles. This is not creating any light activity in the parking lot, ricocheting off of cars, creating the shape of the windows on engineer light on the outside of the building, and then also creating the pattern of the blinds that are closed, magnified in size on my ceiling and on the floor, moving all about. That's all demonic. It's all evidence of what is stalking by demons who surround you, and also engaged in federal stalking on the venue of the internet. And this is what Amazon Prime is engaging in. And while the entity is increasing in light activity in that video that I captured at 4 p.m., that is a show of hostility by a demon-possessed entity that's witnessing me document and expose them. It is the specific environment making itself more obvious, because that's exactly what was present while Amazon Prime was there, and the light source is also present. It just became more present for you to see. And that is ongoing corroborating evidence of what is at no time of day and under no circumstances at any time of year, daylight savings time or not, is that the sun that's present as a matter of evidence as early as 6:45 in the morning, and as you see it outside of my bedroom window now. So I just want to make sure that you're looking at that light source, and then you're looking at the light activity that is inside of my apartment. All right, on Euclid Avenue in Upland, California, creates no light activity inside of the apartment, and magnified in this size through appearing all over the bedspread. This is called engineer light, and that's what you saw that was appearing on the ceiling, and now it's disappeared. It's a method of what is stalking with light. It's magnified in size, and this is how you're seeing it in the depths of my apartment. It's clearly shooting in this direction. It is not on Euclid Avenue in Upland, California. It's not in perfect alignment with my bedroom window on the street of Euclid Avenue outside of the Upland Public Library. The sun is not going to remain over the roof of the Upland Public Library from 9 a.m. until 4:18 p.m., visible on that same street in the morning at 6 p.m., and then also present outside of my bedroom window, where the entity is both rising and setting. That's capturing what is the sex offense that Amazon Prime is engaging in, that you're looking at Susana Martinez engage in, that you're looking at the demons that occupy apartment number 1860, number 1, the Ledesmas of North Alvarado Street, apartment number 1 in Los Angeles, while Tiffany Cherez's minor children are the ongoing means of criminal activity where this demon-possessed entity uses their children, includes them in that criminal conduct, which is psychologically tormenting to the ordinary target individual, and it's also mind-altering to those minor children. This is literally a demented environment, and that is abuse that I'm documenting while they are made group stalkers and criminals, and that 15-year-old is going to be prosecuted she's getting a criminal record as a group stalker, okay? There are demons that are walking around meandering in the engineer light while they're all listening to me document them. They're under the light source that's not over the Upland Public Library, not outside of the Upland Public Library, not in alignment with me on Route 83 as I go leave the Upland Public Library, travel south on Route 83, and the light source remains in perfect alignment where the sunset is documented at Euclid and Holt Avenue, where I'm getting up in the morning and the entity is rising a light source. This is speaking to the P.O.C. that you see the Los Angeles Police Department engaging in as they were pacing in the sky space while Susana Martinez is crossing path, and while they are stalking by a helicopter flying over my apartment, as you saw on May 14th, while the demonic invitation that's revealing what Dominic Choi's problem is. He's a demon. All right. He's in a position that he's disqualified from, exposing this public corruption issue. And it is exposing what the Los Angeles Police Department are engaging in concert with the people of the state, pacing all in traffic, driving in engineer light, walking in engineer light, targeting someone else, revealing the mind state that is highly demented while this criminal act committed by a community is underway. Okay. It is currently, again, when you're looking at this, it's 6:20 p.m. and this is P.O.C. I want to be clear. I want to make sure that you remember, because this is the same entity, and I know that this is lengthy, but this is ongoing direct evidence. This same entity that's kidnapping, and you're looking at this on its face, the specific environment, the maintenance of that environment, the maintenance of the continuation of activity creation as I'm capturing it. That's why everybody's going to federal prison, and the federal judge is not going to hesitate. In the same way that the entity is not hesitating to continue to engage in the P.O.C., they're not hesitating in that engineer light. the federal judge is not going to hesitate with regard to what is prosecution and sitting in federal prison, and understanding the malice and the life-threatening conduct with regard to the necessity of the additional implications, the demilitarization of the corrupt law enforcement agencies in California, the demonic agenda in the state of California to threaten your lives through corrupt law enforcement agencies who want to on the surface appear as though they are protecting and serving, and they're actually protecting their criminal system, and they are serving Satan. And that's the reality. And while you're looking at that light source in this engineer light in my apartment, you're going to look at what is, again, a state facilitating venue where this entity engaged in kidnapping. And you're looking at what is engineer light and also what is the light source that's outside of the window of the facility where this entity kidnapped me pursuant to what was a fictitious exercise of authority by this entity that's group stalking by the corrupt law enforcement agency, heavily stalking, just like LAPD. This is the state system. And this is the pattern of conduct, the entity that is stalking you and through demonic methods, seeking to criminally then defame you, silence you, obstruct justice, just like Lisa Rogan engaged in. That's why she's going to federal prison. While I'm capturing this light source that's setting outside of my bedroom, that's speaking to the light source, the criminal pattern of conduct that she is engaging in, sitting on the bench at that courthouse, which is the Rancho Cucamonga Superior Court at 9:42 and at 10:29 a.m., replete with what is engineered light that's moving across that courthouse while a group stalker is crossing path. Those are the hallmarks. And on that same day, I did document group stalking by helicopter as well. And the entity maintained a light source over me on that day for the duration of that day, which is nowhere near Alvarado Gardens. As I made an example out of just the day before yesterday, you're not forgetting that evidence. And this is speaking to the prosecution of not only Lisa Rogan, Kimberly Appaloo, Kara Hudson, Misha Moss, a third-party group stalker, but this is actually a state actor who's acting in an official capacity in a fictitious prosecution. And she's documented by bar number. Kara Hudson, engaging in what is the criminal act of obstruction of justice via kidnapping and using what is the means of criminal defamation while they're monitoring you. And so this is what's being exposed and prosecuted all at the same time while the entity arrives with its light source, stalking by helicopter, engaging in what are the criminal elements of monitoring in a community that's a specific environment, juxtaposing with what is heavily documented and established already. And it's not shared. It's not happening at the same time. It's not even happening absent the juxtaposition. Sunlight's never appearing above your head, creating your shadow above your head ever on its face. But nonetheless, at same time of year, June 21st, 2022, this is engineer light that's appearing inside of the depths, just like you see inside of my apartment. That's not the product of sunlight. That's called engineered light. And you're looking at what is not shared with my bedroom window in Los Angeles at 6:28 in the afternoon. This is where the entity was group stalking via medical professionals. These are the demon-possessed who serve the state system to conceal the fact that they are monitoring American citizens. This is why you will be demilitarizing these corrupt law enforcement agencies as opposed to providing them more equipment to threaten and silence American citizens that they're monitoring. In addition to, you are understanding what is the grounds of federal imprisonment of medical professionals who are abusing the Welfare and Institutions Code intentionally for the criminal purpose of literally depriving you of your liberty rights and your constitutional rights while they're making up information about your mental health while they are entirely demon possessed, monitoring you inside of these facilities and making up information about your mental health, even outside of what is, I didn't even have a conversation with them. They literally made it up. And then they made up the information that the corrupt courthouses, remember the P.O.C is captured at the courts. The corrupt courthouses are then signing off for purposes of the petition to try to keep you in these facilities longer outside of the 72 hours. This is all documented criminal act of kidnapping by this entity that's engaged in state surveillance, and it goes to the heights. All right. Like I said, Teresa Becerra represents the entity that uses the demons of the the legal profession. And they're in the courts. And then they seek to kidnap you and silence you by defaming you. If not, you taking your own life or them discarding you altogether and then remaining to create a false narrative about you, such as they killed you and they providing evidence. And again, a corrupt law enforcement agency such as Dominic Choi represents of the LAPD. They're the ones that are investigating. They're the ones that are having the witnesses that are the people of the state that are monitoring together, providing evidence substantiating what is suicide that the target individual purportedly engaged. This is what you're looking at. This is what they're engaging in. And this is the entity that's doing so. This is kidnapping in a mental facility where the federal group stalking and monitoring is underway. And this is the hallmark. And it's not shared with the light activity or the presence of the light source at any time of day inside of my apartment. And it's 6:25 p.m. where you just saw that light source, and this is where it remains.
Of the room at Arrowhead.
Okay, I'm walking through what is light that's being shot through the window horizontally like a laser. That's concentrated engineered light that's appearing above my head, that's appearing at nightfall above my head, that creates my shadow above. That's the engineered light, okay? That's P.O.C. That's not sunlight, first of all.
Regional Medical Center, where I remain kidnapped. And this is impossible light activity. That's what this is.
I want you to pay attention. That's impossible light activity. You can see the leaves of the trees blowing through that light, just like you see in my my bedroom, the magnification of light. And the leaves of the trees through the blinds that are closed and the trees that are outside, the magnification of light shows the shadow of those leaves on the trees blowing. Now, let me be clear. Outside of the P.O.C., outside of evidence, this is criminal conduct by the entity that's targeting you and seeks to criminally defame you. Outside of evidence establishing that this is exactly what the entity is doing and it's how it's targeting you in such psychotic methods, which is revealing their mental illness, not any mental illness that is born of the target individual. Outside of evidence showing this level of malicious stalking conduct, stalking with light, which is demonic. This is why you have the unjust result of falsely depicting, but that is by design. It's called malice by the government that uses the medical professionals, uses those of the legal profession, using the criminal courthouses. By criminal courthouse, I don't mean the criminal justice system. I mean they are removed from what are legitimate. The courthouses are the criminal, facilitating state surveillance, putting a rubber stamp on what the criminal acts of these corrupt law enforcement agencies are doing, kidnapping you while they're stalking with the people of the state. And then they're group stalking with the sheriff's department, by the way, documented group stalkers who have no legitimacy, and then kidnapping you, trying to defame you on paper while they are group stalking in the facilities, including making up information, making up diagnoses while they are in every regard mentally ill. Very, very malicious, psychotic. And it is exemplified through the environment. This is impossible light activity that's not coexisting with the light activity that you just saw inside of my bedroom in Los Angeles, California.
Possible light activity. That's what this is.
All right,
across
that's
the room,
of the
blinds
trees.
closed, so it's reaching through the crevice. That's the pattern of conduct of stalking with light. And here's the fake sun as I captured in images. All right, and impossible.
All right, that's the light source that at 6:28 p.m., which I've shown you before. And then you're looking at the light activity inside of my bedroom in Los Angeles. This is not going to result from the sun that's so-called setting in alignment to me inside of the window in Colton, California, outside of the window of the Arrowhead Regional Medical Center, which is not coincidentally in perfect alignment with me at that address where the sun is not even going to be present, because it's setting at the setting in alignment to me here in Los Angeles, which is not shared with the window at the Arrowhead Regional Medical Center in Colton, California. But it's also never going to be there because the entity is keeping it outside, setting it while I'm walking outside of the Upland Public Library. This is understanding what is stalking within an environment. Stalking is revealed through the environment. Demon possession is revealed through the demonic environment. The malice, the psychotic personality defect is revealed through the stalking behavior and the environment. This is P.O.C. This is not seen outside of the Arrowhead Regional Medical Center. This is not creating any light activity inside of the Arrowhead Regional Medical Center. And what you see outside of the window at the Arrowhead Regional Medical Center is not creating any of this light activity that you see inside of my apartment through closed blinds at that. Okay, that's called stalking with light. It's revealing how everyone is group stalking you, including the corrupt law enforcement agencies that use helicopter to do so while they are psychopaths hostile to the fact that you are exposing them.
And that's all I wanted you to see. Okay, this is what these cowards are doing repeatedly. And that's all I wanted you to see.
This is what the entity is doing repeatedly all day long. The entity is group stalking, as you see on video, all day today. Specifically, while I'm documenting Teresa Becerra and Maria Solis Alvarez, and the LAPD is having a field day, repeatedly flying directly over my office.
Take my phone out of my hand, which was in my P.O.C. Repeatedly doing, flying over. Teresa Becerra is a group stalker. This is audible activity. This is audible activity creation, and they're pacing around monitoring in concert.
All right, they repeatedly fly over my office, as I captured several times, and I also listed it in writing so that you are aware of what the LAPD is doing in concert with the people of the state. Teresa Becerra and Maria Solis Alvarez are creating audible activity. They are group stalking while they are physically at a distance. The people of the state and the state are acting together to physically surround and create the methods of light activity. By the way, the light in my office is the element of light. Just want to point that out to you. All elements are present. but she's acting in concert with LAPD. She's going to federal prison. This is not shared. This is the specific environment, and there is no point in the day when you are arriving with the light source, this demonic entity. There's no sun that's ever going to be present over Alvarado Gardens. And this is revealing, again, the specific environment as I've been subject to it, the pattern of conduct. And this is the specific environment in Los Angeles as I remain subject to it. Okay, because none of that is the specific environment. And while they're monitoring on the venue of the internet, as I'm typing out what this group stalker, Teresa Becerra, is engaged in, the entity literally flies over at the same time, which is speaking to, again, the federal stalking conduct in violation of Title 18, which the entity is directly engaged in while it's group stalking you. Real-time knowledge. All right, she's going to federal prison.
Flying directly over while they're monitoring what I'm typing about Teresa Becerra, who's going to federal prison. P.O.C. This is ongoing evidence against the entity. The entities, again, this demon-possessed and corrupt entity engaged in more of it to try to suggest that it has nothing to do with who they're literally monitoring my documentation about. So while I'm documenting Teresa Becerra, who's engaged in audible activity creation, who's engaged in federal stalking on the venue of the internet, and she is directly implicated by it while it's occurring in the specific environment, and her audible activity maintains a specific environment, they that are monitoring on that desktop engage in what is more stalking conduct, which is further corroborating that ongoing criminal conduct that she's engaged in within her profession as an attorney. She's done with the law. Flying over my office again with simultaneity to what I'm documenting, as you see at the screen top, that's speaking to exactly what she's engaging in. It's the same thing that they are doing group stalking in the laundry room. She's done with the legal profession.
So all I'm speaking to is the entities repeatedly targeting me by helicopter inside of my office today. This is the criminal system that Teresa Becerra is engaged in. It remains the specific environment while the entity is covering up the light source. You're looking at the entity creating what is the ongoing environment while they're stalking with methods of light activity, being in the path using your vehicle. This is what I captured this morning while I'm walking around the property. This is what Susana Martinez is doing while she's driving onto the property, using her brakes while LAPD is, again, pacing in the sky space. This is what you're looking at in the specific environment. This is methods of stalking with light, stalking in the path with light. It is entirely demonic. It is done in concert with the people of the state under the age of majority. It's occurring in concert and on behalf of a corrupt law enforcement agency that uses helicopters for purposes of the ultimate act to intent to terrify somebody, to terrorize, to psychologically torment someone and target that person while at the same time maintaining the secrecy of that system because of the unheard of levels, because of the delusion that you are so powerful that no one's ever going to believe or listen to or ever hear the targeted individual, while you're looking at this engineer light that's appearing in the depths of my closet, and then the so-called sunset that's outside of the venue of the Arrowhead Regional Medical Center. That is serving for the federal prosecution of Lisa Rogan. It's serving for the federal prosecution of Teresa Becerra. It's serving for the disbanding and the outright removal from the position of Police Chief Dominic Choi. It's serving for the disbanding of all of the aforesaid law enforcement agencies, including the Ontario Police, who are group stalking. It's the federal imprisonment of every medical professional. I put that in air quotes because they are not legitimate medical professionals. They are literally a stain to that profession. While in the state of California, it's serving a criminal system for obstruction of justice, okay? And they are going to federal prison, okay? Everybody, and I documented them, including the entity that was acting in concert with, and the surveillance cameras. You're talking about what is under all circumstances, fully within the ability to identify specifically by identity while the entity was engaging in a kidnapping. And so this is what the entity is doing as I'm capturing the specific environment, group stalking in the path using your vehicle. This is what the entity is doing as I'm walking around the property. As you're looking, I arrive at the office. You've got a third party present in the path. For purposes of group stalking. You've got the entity that's group stalking in the laundry room, maintaining criminal presence. This is engineer light in my apartment at nightfall, appearing on the ceiling above me. That's not occurring from street lamps outside. This is where the entity is stalking all hours of the night as I'm capturing it on video.
So I just want you to see, I'm capturing still images of the impossible light activity that's on adjacent to my window.
This is LAPD that's engaged in 24-hour criminal surveillance in a specific environment where engineer light is present day and night, okay? And they are maintaining engineer light. Let me be clear. This is my shadow that's appearing above my head. That's never the natural environment. That's never sunlight. That's never any street lamp that's shooting at an upward inside of your apartment through closed blinds appearing on the ceiling, okay? That's exactly what you're looking at inside of my apartment during the day. This is where Amazon Prime crime is group stalking. Okay, this is where the entity is engaged in what is a sex offense under the guise of delivering a package, under the guise of legal representation of a company, a third-party company that's criminally monitoring in concert in the same video documentation with the corrupt law enforcement agency. It does not get any more potent than that, by the way. That's exactly what I documented today. Everybody's going to federal prison. When I say everybody, that's exactly what I mean. Everybody is going to federal prison that I documented today. It is currently 6:36 p.m. and this is 58 minutes of a very it's important that I go through it. I don't mean to make such long videos, but a lot of the times when I'm documenting and I'm referencing other documentation, I cannot rely on you to go. I don't want to. Well, I'm referencing the federal government. I can rely on the federal government, but this is a tutorial. This is for the information of the masses. So I know that we've got this, information gratification, this desire for information right now. And it's just unlikely that you're going to go seek out what I'm referencing that I documented 5 minutes earlier, that I documented last year on the same day at the same time. And so I'm going to show it to you because this is called having receipts. And this is revealing it's demonic activity. Not only am I able to discern that, I'm literally spelling it out for you and showing you the evidence of that which you cannot physically see on them. Okay. And so I'm not contending. I'm not speaking to anything that you do not have evidence in the natural that you are able to recognize yourself for your own protection. And there are implications with regard to our protection in this country because this demon-possessed population, they are strategically and intentionally placed in positions of government. They're in law enforcement. They're in the legal profession. They're in the medical profession. They are working amongst the children where they are training up this generation. They are preparing for what, again, those that are not paying attention, and you need to pay attention because what you're hearing about what's happening on the news is not actually what's happening. And it is against the constitutional rights. It's against your interest, your constitutional rights, your property interests, your liberty interests, when these corrupt law enforcement agencies are given this heavy duty artillery, these weapons for war against, again, this is not necessary. Who are they combating? Who's engaging in this lawlessness? I'm gonna let you know. Those are the demon-possessed people of the state. All right. And they are purposely there providing, wanting to appear as they are in the same position as you or I. And I'm only talking to American citizens, not the demon possessed. And you know who you are. The people of the state, the demon-possessed population, want to appear as you and I, and they are the ones that these corrupt law enforcement agencies are acting in concert with to substantiate and support militarization of these corrupt law enforcement agencies. They're keeping you under surveillance. They're using these weapons to threaten your safety, to enforce what they do not have any jurisdiction or legal authority to do. They're engaged in a criminal act at the outset. And there is an intensification with regard to their use of force. There's an intensification with regard to their authority under the law, which they're exercising fictitious authority under because they're the criminal. They're monitoring in the U.S. and it's unconstitutional. All right. So anyway, that's the reason for the lengthy and because of the ability to show you in real time rather than me telling you. I can show you better than I can tell you, as they say. All right. And again, going back to this is what Amazon Prime is engaging in. And Amazon Prime is a well-documented group stalker, a malicious actor. This is a terrorist and this is a sex offender. And it is P.O.C.